Hi there, brilliant people. I'm the Budget Doctor, your go-to friend for financial advice, project management, life hacks, strategies, all of the things that you need to just exist in this world and show up and be the person you're supposed to be. And if you are that person, know that you are where you are supposed to be, and you should like and subscribe immediately. And today I want to talk about evaluating your income and how important it is to do that, even because as just a woman and a woman of color and intersecting identity, something that I've been hearing a lot from clients, from friends, just from everybody in general, is how tight things feel right now economically. It's hard out here, and sometimes when we're going through our budget and things are getting so tight, we forget that there's one other option: evaluating your own income and doing something about it. There's a part of personal finance that is based on what you have now and what is right in front of you in the life you're living now. But I also feel like there's another part of it that's rooted in the future, planning for the future and having some sort of hope for the future, and therefore planting seeds in that direction. These are some of the conversations that were missing as I was growing up, and even right now, a lot of my friends are missing. I'm still missing. I feel like I'm always looking for somebody to adopt me career-wise. When I started, I remember, you know the first time you hit that career crossroads in your life where you know something's gotta give? So I had that moment maybe back in the pandemic, which I think was everybody's moment of clarity. Just feeling like I was digging my heels into the ground at the time and felt like I wasn't making the income that I should have been making, and I just felt like I was drowning a little bit. And I realized that there was only so many things I could do, but there was always something that I could do in my power. I could stay there and make the same salary, or I could figure out how I can go somewhere else and make better money. One of the things that I did for myself was I had to make an investment in getting someone to do over my resume. That's a really big part of this that people don't want to talk about. And as soon as I bring up paying for someone to do your resume to people, they always are quick to tell me that they're good on their own. They're applying for jobs with it on their own. They've done their own resume. They've had their friend look it over, their sister look it over, their cousin look it over, their friend who's in HR gave it some notes, and all of that is amazing. But there are people out there who actually know the ins and outs of ATS systems, of what keywords to use, who do market research, who know exactly what to say on a resume to get you into certain roles. Also, on that note, especially when you're trying to change industries, careers, it's all about transferable skills and how you can speak to your transferable skills. And I found that the best way for me to learn how to speak to my transferable skills actually came through the process of having somebody else go through my resume and redo it for me. And I felt like that was the kickoff point for me to really understand what I actually was capable of in writing. I think a lot of the times we know we're hardworking, we know we can figure out everything, but we don't always know the fancy words for how we do things. That's also a big roadblock. That is my number one tip. Is just pay someone to do your resume. And I can't even say, I'm thinking, is that coming from a place of privilege right now to say that? And I think no, because when I paid for my resume to get done, I had significantly less than what I had right now. I was just scraping by. We had just purchased our house, and I just knew something had to give. And you know what? It paid off for me in dividends. Like, the second thing that really paid off for me when I sat down and was evaluating my income was thinking about what I lacked in terms of credentials and things online for the system to demonstrate that I know what it is that I'm talking about. And a lot of the time that involves going back to school. And this is another investment. And again, these are all things where if you grew up with any sort of privilege, you have access to people, you have access to institutions, knowledge bases. You may not have to make any of these investments, but I know I did. Had to pay to get my resume done and then had to go back to school. So next step was I went back and took some courses in leadership management because I realized there was so much that I was missing in terms of just even developing, not only developing my own character, understanding traits about myself, but also being able to understand what it is about certain people that cause them to get promoted, to be in important business meetings and be taken seriously. Who are the hard workers on a team and how do you identify them? Those were all things that I had to learn by going back to school. And some of those courses, I made use of employer programs, employer education programs to pay for, and some I paid for out of pocket. Right now I'm studying for my PMP, and I had to make that investment into my future. It was a $600 exam, $600 US. I don't want to do the conversion to Canadian because I might cry at the amount, but I find crafty ways. I put away $10 at a time, depending on where I am financially at that time. For this time, I waited until Boxing Day, and this is the only time of year that the PMP exam goes on sale 30% off. That's almost a third. So you understand the point. I invested in my education. I invested in my resume, which was my first step to investing in my own personal brand and understanding who I was as a professional. And sometimes it's really just the awareness that gets us, the lack of awareness, I should say. We don't stop and think about how valuable we are to the teams that we work with. We don't stop to think about the years of experience we've gathered, which makes us work meticulously, swiftly, expeditiously. And it's so easy to think that, you should only just be grateful for your job and that you should just be quiet and be grateful. That was something that I grew up often hearing, just be grateful for your job. It's a different generation where survival looked a lot different. And they did at that time have to be grateful for their jobs because they were building a different life here in Canada. And I am so grateful that my parents did that so that I could start at a different foundational point and be able to think about life from a different perspective. I've seen lawyers, I've seen people who are in business, who are in government, who are in retail, students. Everybody is in a different space, but I can't tell you the amount of people who I believe are severely underpaid and have become okay with being severely underpaid. We don't talk about salary the way we used to, or maybe we never did. Did we ever talk about salary? Anyways. We don't talk about salary, and it's only to our own detriment because you can be working with someone who is making $20,000 more than you. You could be working with somebody who is making equal amounts but is working half as much as you are. There are so many different things to take into consideration, and a lot of the times you could be worth money somewhere else. So it's always worth it to do some research on your own position, like your own career title. How much is the average? Like for people hiring for those positions right now, what are the hiring ranges? What are the years of experience that they ask for? How many years of experience do you have personally and that you can bring to the table? Are there different positions that you can anchor yourself up? We don't even think about how many hours of our lives that we spend there in a week. You can't just wish away your job. You can't just get rid of the resentment of not getting paid enough. It goes deeper and deeper. It erodes your self-esteem. It erodes your sense of value and your contributions to this world and your purpose. And it makes you think that you don't deserve better than how you are currently living right now. And that is just not true. And I guess the last thing I'd want to talk about is what would you even do with the money? If you evaluated your income and you determined that you were worth more salary or more an hour than you currently were making, that you were skilled enough in your trade that you can move up a seniority level, you are investing in your resume, maybe you've invested in a career coach, maybe you've gone back to school, all of these different things. And when it pays off and your salary increases, I think that might have to be a topic for another day, because that is a whole different ballgame, especially when you have not grown up with money, when you haven't grown up being used to the amount of money that you end up making as an adult. When you go from not having to all of a sudden feeling like you're having, because on the surface you're having, but maybe underneath it all you're not able to make the investments that you would actually need to be making to secure your financial future, but you can buy a Gucci belt, you know? If you have liked anything that I've talked about today, give me a thumbs up. I just realized I've been staring at the wrong screen. I hope it's not too obvious, but if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe.